Hello everyone and welcome to episode 29 of the Save File podcast. Today with me I have Josh, Sharbs and Anf. Today we'll be looking at Ghost of Tsushima, coming out with a director's cut. What could we be getting with that? Todd Howard explains Elder Scrolls 6 is far away, but what does that mean? Sony acquires Housemarque with Bluepoint seemingly on the horizon. Is this a good thing for gaming? Mii Fighters breaking everyone's hearts? Challenger Pack 11 DLC for Smash, and Sharbs talks about getting sucked into buying a roguelite. Hey guys.
Alright, so
on?
should we head off with Sekiro? Not Sekiro, Ghost of Tsushima. I fucked it up.
Wow.
Jeez, your first sentence in this
I know,
podcast.
right? Like, it didn't take long at all.
Jack did so well on the intro and you just spat in his
I
face
can't
right there.
believe I did. But keep going.
So,
Ghost of Tsushima is getting a director's cut, according to...
reportedly.
Getting a director's cut.
So basically it got, it's one of those things that the
It got a
classification
rating.
board got a rating. Everyone finds out about it and they haven't announced it, and it's like, probably should have worked out that was going to happen, but oh well. What do you think a director's cut is going to entail? Now, I've had a look at a couple of games. So obviously there's recently Death Stranding that is getting a director's cut. We're not at 100% what's coming with that, but apparently it could be something like he hinted at new stealth elements. There's probably a few different things to do in the game. Or you have Borderlands 3 director's cut, which gave a new raid boss, a few more quests, and some behind the scenes making of the game sort of content and new cosmetics.
Yeah, see, those are two like immensely different, different takes on what a director's cut.
Yeah, a director's cut is a game. I'm like, what? What do you want to bring here?
Yeah, so what we know from those two things is that we know nothing about what this director's cut will be
I
like.
reckon,
Essentially.
I reckon
Yes.
it'll be like Final Fantasy VII Remake's Intergrade. You know how Intergrade was basically just the PS5 upgrade? It just comes. You have to buy the Yuffie DLC separately.
Yeah, see, but I don't know what that means. Like, if they're saying director's cut, is that any different to like a special edition? Is that any different to like just the game plus the DLC? Is that the director's cut? Or is it like you said, the Death Stranding thing where they're like, are they going to add new mechanics to it? Are there going to be new story elements?
I mean, we've seen like definitive editions that come with essentially nothing. So
that's true.
I mean,
I think
sorry.
it's maybe important to... No, I was just going to say, important to point out that previous to this, there were already rumours that there's a DLC or standalone expansion called Ghost of Ikishima coming out, which maybe director's cut comes with that? Probably, maybe, who knows? Maybe it's a sort of thing like Spider-Man with Miles Morales and then the original version. I wonder.
how have Sucker Punch handled DLC before? Because I remember there was like an expansion for Infamous Second Son.
Yeah, First Light.
First Light, right?
It was called First Light.
Yeah.
That was a standalone, yeah. That's a good thought, actually.
Yeah.
I think that was only like 6 to 8 hours of gameplay or something like that. You know, nothing really large at all, but they wanted more story to tell.
Yeah, it seemed like a very short experience compared to Second Son.
Feel like that means it probably wouldn't be Jin.
It could be, because don't forget, Jin is, at this point, okay, spoiler alert, he essentially, becomes a fucking, I guess you could say wanted. He's hunted, like...
Wanted, outcast, any way you want to go.
He's not welcome in his own, island. Or, I guess anywhere, because he's basically an honorless samurai.
Well, I mean, he's welcome on the island of Tsushima, from the citizens, but he isn't welcome according to the government, essentially.
Yeah, that means he's hunted.
The aristocratic section.
Yeah. But, to be honest, if I was in charge of doing a director's cut for Ghost of Tsushima, there's a few things you could do. So, did you guys finish Sensei Ishikawa's side story?
Not yet.
Yeah,
I platinumed that game. I did everything.
Oh, man. I don't know. Do you care about spoilers, Josh?
No, I'm not too fussed on spoilers.
Okay, so at the end of Sensei Ishikawa's story, his former pupil that you're hunting essentially leaves the island of Tsushima, and she goes, "Oh, well, I'm gonna go to the mainland and start a new life." So one thing you could do is you can have her as a potential protagonist,
Oh, that'd be cool.
and almost
That was my
have it
thought.
like a redemption story. The other thing you could do as well with Jin essentially knowing that Tsushima's a no-go for him now,
Yeah.
maybe he goes to a new place. Or the other one is you could play as who's the thief, the one that teaches Jin how to be Yuna, that's it.
Yeah.
Or you could have Yuna as the playable protagonist.
Yeah, because there's a lot with Jin that you can build. Because don't forget, he has a setup that's basically the likeness of a shinobi. And I think at that point, shinobis didn't exist, so he could be the first ninja.
I don't think they'll go that
That's-
route.
No, if we're talking historically, like shinobi and ninja and that, more of like a Chinese origin.
Yeah, true.
Really?
Yeah, no, a lot of things in Japan are like that, where the origin of the thing came from China and migrated to Japan, and Japan,
Is
for
known
lack of a
for it.
better term, like appropriates it into their own culture.
Yeah, that's right. Because there's like they had that like that. There's assassins in China, which originated.
Yeah.
Assassins originated from. What was the name? It was Assassin's Creed. They had that guy.
Are you? What are you referring to? Where they were first like called the word assassins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It came from the Arabic word hashashin, or well, actually not hashashin. That's what they called the assassins. Assassins based off. It came from the word assassin.
Assassin.
Yeah, that it's an Arabic word, but like I mean, I don't know. Like I really want to see what they do with this director's cut.
It will be. It
I'm
will set the precedent,
really
which
keen.
will be interesting.
The things that
Which is, you know what's funny? I've actually been considering replaying Ghost of Tsushima because I deleted it before the update came out, so I haven't played the multiplayer or anything. I'd be keen to.
well,
I want to go back and play the multiplayer, and I was actually thinking that I wonder if any of the directors got to add, because I think they ended up putting a raid in that, so they could add another raid or
the
something.
things that will be definite in this, I guess, quote unquote director's cut, would be something like what we see in all like upgrades of PS5. So, fidelity mode, performance, or performance ray tracing, which is essentially like a mixture of both, I guess. And I would love to play Ghost of Tsushima in fucking performance ray tracing. Like, imagine seeing like your reflection in the water, and like seeing like I don't know. It's something about it that I just want to see more from. If they were to release something like that.
Right.
Oh, it's a
Hey,
gorgeous
Longshot,
game.
Maybe PC.
I hope not. I'm one of those people where like the main reason I buy a PlayStation is for exclusives. The moment you start saying
No,
every
I
exclusive's
understand
going
that.
to a PC, I'm not going to buy a PlayStation anymore. But yeah,
Fair.
that's
No, but you you buy it just so you can get the controller because you can't use a keyboard.
yeah, I'm dreadful with a keyboard and mouse. You'd think I never played video games.
Well, just plug a Switch controller into your computer. Problem solved.
I use a DualShock 4 because
Yeah.
Steam's got DualShock 4 support.
Has it actually not got the?
The Pro Controller support.
New controller?
It should.
Yeah, I think like out of the box you can use a DualSense on computer.
That's what
Because
it's called. I forget the name.
No, because I've got a friend who plays a lot of fighting games and he uses a DualSense. So
On PC.
I mean, I think it's on PC. Like I don't think it's got like the haptic feedback on the triggers or
They would have
anything
to be like
that.
programmed into the game. For that
Yeah,
controller.
essentially.
I don't know, like playing a PS5 controller on PC right now seems kind of like expensive. Like
Yes, if that was.
I
What
mean,
you're
yeah,
exclusively
there
using
are-
it for.
There are absolutely cheaper options, but you know it is what it is. It is a good controller.
I mean, a good keyboard will set you back $100.
Yeah, it's true. More than that. Yeah.
More.
yeah.
But yeah, that's Ghost of Tsushima.
So, Todd Howard has said that Elder Scrolls 6 is very far away, and this is the quote: "I have to be careful what I say. It's a very long way off. I could sit here and explain the game to you, and you would say, that sounds like you don't even have the technology. How long is that going to take?" This game was announced 3 years ago. What's going on here? I want Elder Scrolls
Well,
6.
basically, I think that's just his way of saying don't expect to see anything anytime soon. So you guys know me. I've said this to you guys privately, but I don't think I've brought it up on the podcast. Is I hate it when games get announced and they tell you nothing about the game.
Oh, dude, I'm right with you.
Like all we've seen of Elder Scrolls 6 is essentially a GIF and a and the logo for it, the title.
And let me tell you, there are threads about what that means and where that location is.
I don't know. I think,
That 30-second tease, there are threads about that, man.
I don't know. Maybe
it is nuts.
maybe I'm very like. I don't know. Maybe it's just me being someone, but I can't stand it when something is announced and its release date is like 7 years away.
Yeah, this is usually
I hate that shit.
Yeah, usually this is a thing Square Enix is guilty for.
Absolutely. Square
I mean,
bad.
I remember when we were studying, one of the biggest one of the jokes that came up was
Now in development.
we once watched we watched every Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer in order to see how many trailers before they stopped saying now in development. Because that's all they would say. They would show a trailer that they'd say now in development, and that obviously is so they don't give you a release date or anything.
Spoiler alert, it stops like in the not even towards the middle of the video, like past the middle.
Yeah, it was. They did like something like 12, 13 trailers that just said now in development.
It's not great.
Yeah, when did this game release
I don't-
again? 2018, 2019?
Yeah, 19, I think.
2019.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I can't get behind the idea of making a trailer for something that isn't going to come out for like 3, 4, 5 years, because whatever product they have at the moment does not even slightly resemble what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Well, if he's saying it's a long way off, and it was 3 years ago when they announced it, I just had a look, it was June 2018.
I think he said it was in the design phase.
In the design phase, yeah.
That's listen, I've been there when games are in the design phase, and that's just some people around the table saying, you know, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. The thing
Like,
the thing is,
If there were
sorry.
it sounds like from Todd's point of view that the game is still very, very much in, I would say probably mid pre-production.
It sounds
Yeah.
like from
If that
Todd's point
makes
of view, the
sense.
GDD isn't finished. Like,
Like, he's saying we don't even have the technology. Like, what?
yeah,
Josh,
what
we're
does that mean?
halfway through the version
don't
history.
know.
Are they trying to make a new engine for it or something? Because that just...
No, like-
I mean, I hope so, because Bethesda's creation engine that they've used for, like, you know, Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 is...
Well, didn't they say Starfield was going to be on a new engine? So, like,
I would
I think it
hope for
was
that
Fallout
too.
76 or
they're probably
something was
testing
like
the
the
waters.
last one on that
They're probably
engine.
testing the
Look,
waters.
I'll be...
I'm pretty sure their next game's on a new engine. I'm pretty sure I remember
I would
reading
hope
that
it is.
somewhere.
I'll
I
be
mean,
honest,
you'd think so.
as much as I don't like early announcements, I would honestly say to Bethesda and, you know, anyone else that's making a game, take all the time you need. For the love of God, I've said it before, a bad launch will really fuck up the reputation of not only your game, but your company.
Yeah, CD Projekt Red will never be the same.
They'll never be the
No,
same.
100%.
Because
Like,
of... because
they
of Cyberpunk.
destroyed their entire reputation with one
Yeah, it
bad
was amazing
game.
how bad it was, because everyone was saying, like, oh, it's CD Projekt Red. Like, we can trust these guys.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I would never buy a game that these people even say anymore.
On launch. I would never buy a CD Projekt Red game on launch again.
Whereas I'm already usually that with a lot of
Yeah.
Ubisoft games. I'm
I've seen
like,
people...
or at least I won't buy them on PC, as Sharps knows. I did that once and never
I've seen people
again.
call,
Yeah, I know...
I've seen them being called like one-trick ponies at this point.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Who? CD Projekt?
Yeah.
I mean,
Witcher, yeah.
let's be real. They've had one bad misstep. Cyberpunk's a huge misstep, like they misstepped and fell off a cliff, but it is still one.
Yeah,
one
I was gonna
game.
say this isn't like a.
They had
I
the
fell
bungee
over
cord
down
on,
the
you know.
stairs. This is like
Yeah.
I fell over down like the stairway to heaven, like just all of them.
Like,
Well,
look,
they fell off the cliff and they avoided the rocks.
Dude,
so
I
they're
had
still
to-
in the water.
The
In all
fucking
honesty-
thing, every time I went to a tech shop, that was all we could talk about was bloody Cyberpunk, because everyone was excited for it. I couldn't
Yeah.
get my damn phone fixed without talking about Cyberpunk. Everyone was so excited it came out, and I was like, oh no.
I'll admit something.
look,
I've played Cyberpunk and I didn't think it was that bad. But then again, I didn't have the same issues everyone did. The only issues...
It's the
Well-
only game that's ever been taken off of the store because it just didn't work.
well, firstly,
and
yeah,
it's been put back on the store.
with a
And
warning
Sony
though.
doesn't want to market it.
Yeah, with a warning.
Like, yeah,
Not
like
fixed, just-
first. First and foremost, Anf, like, I'm glad you had not that shit of an experience with Cyberpunk.
Oh,
Right?
sort of,
I
sort
honestly
of,
hope.
sort of. It took me a while to like warm up to it because
I'm gonna be a caveat in this.
let's just say that the performance wasn't so great on my PC until I found a sweet spot. The game eventually grew on me, but I was close to actually sending it back. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, like, first and foremost, you played it on PC, which was reported by everyone that was, I guess, the most optimized version.
pretty much.
You played it on really low settings because your rig just couldn't handle anything else. That's fine, but that also means the game was demanding less resources.
Yeah.
Like, if you had said to me you hadn't had an issue and you were playing on a base level PS4, I would have been impressed.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
But I've said this multiple times. I'm sure I've said this at least multiple times on the podcast. If you release a game on 3 platforms, for example, it better function perfectly on 3 funkin' platforms. You know what I mean?
That's absolutely correct. Don't release
I'm not
something-
saying the game has to be 100% bug free, because there are always going to be bugs that sneak in. But the game should be playable at the very least if you're going to charge someone money for something. That's my stance on it. Like, it wasn't even a Steam early access game where you could be like, oh, they're still working on it.
Look, at least it wasn't like Watch Dogs. Like, do you guys remember what happened with them?
I think CD Projekt is worse.
Really?
Yeah. Don't forget,
Yeah.
CD Projekt deliberately misled fans by only letting people review the PC version of the game. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you didn't
And
know
our
that.
boy Skill Up was one of the only people that noticed that.
Yeah, Sharp.
Yeah, that was the thing. Everyone that got a review copy of Cyberpunk got it on PC because that was the only way it would, I guess, almost run. They were adamant about, for a while, especially close up to launch, there were many people, including, I know it mainly from Yongye, who mentioned that they're not allowed to show like their own footage and things like that. People were using footage from trailers and things like that.
Yeah.
And obviously, you're not going to find the game's bugs in the trailers for its own game.
The game did
But,
get leaked
like,
a little bit as well.
It did get leaked a little bit, but I mean, let's be real. No offense, but I'm not targeting like the you did normal artists or programmers or anything. I'm targeting CD Projekt's higher ups. They did that to Cyberpunk.
Oh,
they were absolutely at fault.
Yeah.
And there've been more than enough rumors about what happened and it being rushed. But I think at the end of the day, what people have got to learn from that is that games take time. And if you're going to put out a crap game, people are going to notice and it's actually going to do worse.
And
Well,
don't boast about your no crunch time and then immediately go, you guys are gonna have to crunch now.
Yeah.
You guys are crunching.
One of the best things that came out of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was I saw tweets from the developers saying, hey, by the way, I know we made this game and it's great and everything, but guys, we made it without crunch. And everyone was showing love to Insomniac.
Look, it is
Which
absolutely...
is freaking impressive.
No, that's a completely proof that crunch is not necessary.
You know what the
Yeah.
worst argument I've seen against that is? I've seen
There you
people saying, I swear to you this is true, I've seen people on Twitter saying, yeah, but it's easy for Insomniac to do it without crunch because they made a game that's only, 15 hours? Whereas Cyberpunk and like other RPGs are like 200 hours. And
Yeah, they may...
all I have
fuck
is this
right
to say.
off.
All I have is this to say. In Cyberpunk, you can fall through the floor. There were millions of fucking people that got it refunded. There were glitches that made the game literally unplayable.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, I've never made a game as big as Cyberpunk. But if I did, I probably wouldn't release it where you can fall through the floor and the game isn't playable.
Not just.
let me just point out that this... Sorry, I just want to put out...
Yeah.
They also released Marvel Spider-Man in 2018. They released Miles Morales last year, and then released this.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're just sitting on their asses, not making games. They're making short games. They're making good quality games that are at the top of the charts. So let's not have a go
Also,
at them for
hours of
that.
playtime doesn't necessarily correlate to the difficulty of development time.
Yes.
Because that's a very subjective thing. There are things in RPGs that inherently inflate playtime without inherently inflating work time. I know it's kind of a weird thing to... I'd have to like go into it in a deep dive or something. But like, there are certain mechanics, there's certain play styles, there's certain genres which inherently will take longer for a player to get through than say like a linear story experience.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at a game like, say, Uncharted, right? Uncharted games go for the perfect length that they need to go for. If Uncharted 5 comes out and someone tells me the story is 150 hours, that's going to be a bit of a slog.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit hard.
It doesn't need to be 150 hours. Whereas if I made an RPG that was done in, 2 hours, I'd get people who are RPG fans coming back to me saying, where the fuck's the content?
With Cyberpunk,
You know what I mean?
Cyberpunk and like Ratchet and Clank. Don't forget, Cyberpunk was meant to be this game that looks like it's supposed to be like aesthetically next level, and then you got Ratchet that looks like a fucking Pixar movie. And
it is the best looking game I've ever played.
This is my hot take. I think that Ratchet and Clank looks way fucking better than Cyberpunk does.
100%.
No, I'm with you.
100%. It
Like,
looks. It looks amazing.
It is amazing.
I never use photo modes in games. Not because I hate them or anything. It's just something I don't bother wasting, my time with. It's not something that interests me. I played through Ratchet and Clank on performance ray tracing mode, right? And the way it works is you get, a nice picture and everything, and it's got ray tracing at 60 FPS, but certain things like lighting is toned back, right? Ratchet and Clank not only looked gorgeous, right? I would go into photo mode and you could see the really tiny details and everything. But more importantly, it performed really well. I'm not going to say it was bug-free because it wasn't. But there was never a point where my save was corrupted or it bricked my console or anything like that. With certain other games. Actually, no, there have been times where I fell through the floor. It just wasn't consistent, and it was because I glitched it myself.
And there was times in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart where you couldn't tell which was the cutscene and which one was gameplay. It was like the original trilogy where it boasted the fact that there was in-engine cutscenes the whole game.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima has done that to me a few times. It's a cutscene.
Yeah.
shit, I'm playing now.
You just like that. Jin is standing pondering what was said in that cutscene a lot, eh?
Yeah, no, I had that right near the beginning of the game where I was really waiting for a long time, and I'm like, man, this is a very big dramatic pause. Oh shit, I can move.
Okay, I know we've been pretty negative so far, which somehow became a trend. But I want to talk about something positive, right?
Okay.
All right,
I got suckered into buying a game. Now, let me explain something. I have 3 platforms I play games on. I've got a Switch, I've got a PC I built about, 4 or 5 months ago, and I have a PlayStation 5. Right? Now, for years, all I had was a PlayStation. But now that I have other consoles, I depending on what the game is, will determine where I buy it. If it's a game that's got a PS5 upgrade, for example, Destiny got a PS5 upgrade where it ran at 4K 60 FPS, I downloaded it on my PlayStation. Or if it's something that's exclusive, that obviously plays a part. Or if it's something that I'm going to play, for example, with Anf, someone who doesn't always have Nintendo Online, I'll get it on Steam, something like that. But I'm pretty experimental when it comes to Steam and the Nintendo eShop. Because half the time, I'll just browse through shit. I'll see a game that's $10-15, it's got a title that interests me, and I'll go check out the trailer. I said this before we hopped on, right? But I can't stand it when you're charging me $15 for a game and you don't have a video trailer, and I can't see anything about the game. If all I have are screenshots and your description to go off, it's a lot harder to get me to buy the game, rather than if there's a trailer where I can see some gameplay. But I was scrolling through, and this thing caught my eye, and it said Streets of Rogue. Now, I've been wanting to play Streets of Rage for a while, but I saw this, and I saw it had DLC on sale, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know why, but I was tempted to check it out. First thing I do is I see the trailer, and I'm like, okay, they've got a video trailer, let me watch this. Now, this is how you sell a game with the trailer, okay? First thing you see, gameplay, right? They don't even tell you the premise of the game. They show gameplay, all right? So I'm already seeing what kind of game this is going to be. the first bit of text that pops up, screen goes black, and it says 95% on Steam. So immediately now I know, oh, this game's got overwhelmingly positive on Steam. It's not going to be like some back-end shovelware, anything like that. Because these days, like, people are ridiculously tough in what they give good reviews to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's got such a high rating on Steam, I was like, alright, I trust this. Like, let's move forward and see what it is. And then the trailer itself is really well done. It parodies a lot of, like, you know those 2000 action movie trailers?
Yeah.
It parodies that a bit, where they sort of have, like, one of those voices going on, but they start talking about how the game works. And they're like, do you want to go in guns blazing? You can do that. Do you want to hack your way through? You can do that. Like, it's going over, like, how you can play the game. So what this is it's informing me of shit I can do in the game while selling me the game at the same time. And I shit you not, by the end of the trailer, I was ready to wishlist it on the Switch and even, like, buy it that day. And the only thing that stopped me was it gets to a point in the trailer and they're like, and you don't have to go it alone. We've got co-op. So then I obviously messaged the boys and I'm like, guys, what are we playing this on? Josh said he had it on Steam. And so I bought it on Steam and I've been playing it and it's fantastic. But it's funny because it's a roguelite. It's a type of game I wouldn't normally play. But because the trailer sold me so well, it's gotten me to experience a game in a genre I don't normally touch.
And how are you finding it? Because is this your first kind of more heavily roguelike
Roguelite.
It's, like, off the top of my head it is. But here's the thing. I feel like whether you like a genre or not, as, you know, game developers, me, you, and Anf, we can appreciate good design wherever it is.
Yeah.
Even if it's in a genre we're not familiar with. And the game just feels well made. Like, it feels like, I believe as well it was made by a single dev as well.
I believe it was.
Yeah, which
That's impressive.
always gets brownie points whenever something awesome comes from a single dev, because I don't know how they fucking do it.
Yeah, the Stardew Valley guy might be a machine.
But, like,
It's possible.
Yeah.
like, before we talk about, like, the premise of the story and all that shit, the game just feels like a really well-made game. It feels like everything happens in the game deliberately. You know what I mean? Like, even when you play a level and the levels are, like, randomly generated, it feels like it's done correctly. Like, it's very, very, very well-made game. And then there's the actual premise of it, which I completely sympathize with the protagonist, right? Because the premise of the game is that a mayor who promised more beer and lower taxes became mayor and then confiscated everyone's beer and made higher taxes. And to top that off, he issued a ban on chicken nuggets.
Oh, the monstrosity.
We've descended into anarchy.
Now, I don't know
It's
about
truly
you
the
boys,
world.
but I'm pretty big. And I'm pretty big on chicken nuggets. So you can bet I'd be the first one joining the resistance if that shit got banned. It's
I
just
believe it.
it's just a game where, like, even when you go up and talk to the characters, there's humor and, like, there's so many little touches in a game where, like, for example, in your, like, base, whatever, I walked into a room and, like, it was the bathroom, walked into a toilet stall, and the character sitting on the toilet was like, get the fuck out of here, like, this is unprofessional. The fact that they went to the effort of actually having the character react like that as soon as you walk in, it's the things like that that make me feel like a lot of care was put into this game.
A crude example of great design.
Like, that's my point. Like, it's something that the developer went and thought, wait, what if someone walks into this? And I can't remember who it was. I believe it was, I think it might have been Nakey Jakey. But it was someone explaining how Rockstar's open world games, why the open worlds are done so well. And the way it was explained is, Rockstar can take a patch of grass in the corner of the map in Red Dead Redemption, and that gets the same amount of attention as the main street of Saint Denis. And that's why the world feels consistently lived in.
That's
And
incredible, yeah.
Yeah.
you get the same feeling from a game like this.
I
Honestly.
looked him up. I just want to make sure we give him dues. It is made by a single gentleman by the name of Matt Dabrowski.
Well
That's
done,
it.
Matt. Oh my god.
Like, a fucking
So that's
fantastic
pretty
game.
impressive.
Why do you have a cool name?
You only get to be a game dev if you have a cool name.
That is true.
Josh, your name is Joshua Grant Horn. Doesn't strike me.
According
on the
to his
full
Twitter,
line.
he's an all-around A-OK fellow.
And your name, Charbs, means God's
that-
meme.
It doesn't mean God's meme.
It
My-
totally does. It's a liberal translation.
Okay, so we have to explain that now. My first name means God's, like, good news from God or good story from God. And my last name roughly translates to laughter. And they were like, laughing at a story? It's like, you're a meme. And so my name was, in like an old chat we had, was God's meme for a very long time.
I stand by
That
my
brings back
translation.
memories.
I've studied the ancient texts for a while to come up with that one.
I feel like,
I thought you were just going to say you had a God complex.
Josh took a class in... Josh took a class in Aramaic to fucking translate this.
I was there with the stone tablets.
Jeez.
But yeah, that's honestly, I recommend this game. I know it came out in 2019, but if you haven't bought Streets of
Doesn't
Rogue, get it.
mean
It's fantastic.
Also, I'm not sure, but it might be on sale at the moment because of the
It is.
the summer sales.
It is.
Yeah.
It's I think I got it for like $15 on sale, which I mean $15. We're Australians,
you-
right? We see games in like retail stores now for $125.
Yeah, anytime we see a
$15
sale-
is not a
Biggest,
big ask
baby.
compared to that.
Yeah, we go a little rabid whenever we see a sale. That's why EB Games, instead of having a storefront, has sale banners.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually weird when you walk past our EB games, which I think, what's the American equivalent?
GameStop.
GameStop.
Is it GameStop? Yeah. And you don't see red for sale signs. You're like, did somebody die?
So is it okay, guys?
What's going
literally
on?
walked
Yeah.
past EB Games
Where's the
once
red?
Let me tell
Where
you.
there was no for sale signs at all in the front. It was just a regular storefront, and it was jarring. I'm like, that's not how that usually looks.
Yeah, let me tell you, EB having a sale right now, it could have been at like the worst but best time.
I know. Fuck.
So we also talked about. So we let Jack know about like what we wanted to speak about on the podcast, but something has just come to my attention,
Okay.
Oh no.
and
concerned.
so Dan.
Wasn't on my run sheet, god damn it.
So Dan works in EB Games, as we established a couple episodes back, and EB Games during this current lockdown in our state has stayed open. Western Australia's, which is another state, Western Australia's health minister has declared Xbox is not classified as an essential good.
What?
Because the lockdown rules are that you can only leave your house if you're going for like essential goods, so grocery shopping, or if you have a doctor's appointment. And so he's come out and he said that Xbox is not an essential good.
I literally okay. I've got to talk about that just for a second. Is the fact
Clearly a
that me and my family have a retail shop, and we were trying to figure out, do we actually have to shut it down? And it turns out no, we didn't. We sell like candles and homeware. Not exactly
Yeah.
essential, but like there was no rules against any retail shop opening, like none.
No.
We're like, oh, well, that's not really much of a lockdown at all.
No, because the theory was that, people still need to go and get, like, blankets, and, you might need cups for, like, your coffees or your
Might
teas
need
or
an
stuff like that.
Xbox,
That was how they
your cousin
phrased it.
might murder you,
I
Well,
thought the
entertainment
rules.
purposes, I get that.
I thought the rules were you were allowed to stay open if you provided a reason for staying open. So, like, if you own a fruit and vegetable shop, like, hey, I sell something people need, like, I can stay
Yeah.
open.
Then that's basically what it
Let's-
is, and that's why,
let's
like,
be honest.
retail
Let's be honest.
places getting away with it.
Sorry, Jack.
No, go
Let's-
ahead. I keep
let-
cutting you off.
Let's be honest, guys. Us Australians don't really follow the rules that well. I mean, we still got.
we had an anti-vaxxer cafe.
Yeah, we still have like people that don't wear their masks right now, and I mean, I went to remember that time when like COVID had a little outbreak earlier this year, and we had to
Yeah.
wear masks like pretty much that whole fortnight. Yeah, I went to this.
So, Oh, sorry. You go.
I went to a train station, right? I just sat there waiting for a train. You had to wear masks that day. Everyone around me except me was wearing masks, and there was 2 cops there just watching them, doing nothing. Not even like booking them, just stood there doing jack shit.
Yeah, well, we're currently in lockdown, and if you're in a public place without a mask, I believe the fine is like $200.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty extreme.
Guys, you should be careful because that's 1.5 brand new games. So.
Cries in poverty.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
right?
so
Oh, yeah.
about the lockdown, Dan had sent... So shopping centres are on lockdown. I work in a shopping centre as well. And unfortunately, the one I work at did have 2 COVID hotspots. Luckily, I wasn't there when during the time they were hotspots. But Dan sent a photo to us in a group chat we have. I'm sure you guys remember it. But it's just his store being open, his EB Games. And every other store around him just shut. It was unbelievable.
They started doing a tally of people who came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got like
I
friends
think I
who
counted, it was like 30, 35 people the entire day.
Yeah, and
That is-
about 10 of them bought something.
yeah. Well, it's
Surprisingly, they all had masks though. They actually had a thing for if they kept masks, and they all did. I was impressed.
No, I was impressed.
So I have a friend who works at the Samsung store in the city, and this makes no sense to me. But they've stayed open, but only for click and collect.
Oh, okay.
Which I can only imagine, right? Who's kicking back at home and they think, I need a new Samsung Galaxy S20. And then they go and they go click and collect and not order it in.
Oh boy, a new Samsung S20.
If you're buying an S20, you'd think, well, you may as well have the money to deliver it to you. You would think, but maybe you don't trust Ozpost to deliver it to you.
Oh, man.
Actually, that's probably entirely
Dude,
the
I never
reason.
trust Ozpost. I literally trust everyone else above Ozpost. I trust like a random person on the street if I gave them to him, like a quest giver.
You have to like stand under a street light to make sure that you're highlighted.
Yeah. No, they come up to me and they're like, "Hey, dude, you've been standing here for like 3 hours. You're all right." And then I hand them a box. And
You
an
made me
address
drop
and I
my
say, "Take
pen."
this here."
Bro, I can just hear the Fable Guildmaster going, "You have a new quest card."
I'm thinking of
Your
I think
health
it's
is running
Sky.
low.
I'm just thinking of Skyrim with it. Stop! You violated the law.
Stop! You violated the law.
I think I'm more like a Pokemon trainer. If you make eye contact with me, I will beeline it for you.
Yeah, but you have to say one random thing before you give them the box. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
but-
they walk past you, you have to walk up to them and be like, "I like shorts. They're very
I was gonna
comfy."
say,
And then you,
no, I come up to them. It's like, my dog is the best fucking dog, and then they kill me.
I have the bestest dog.
but yeah, no, I'm honestly shocked that a game store is allowed to stay open. I actually asked Dan, I go, "What's the reason for it?" And he goes, "Oh, well, EB classifies themselves as like we're staying open because we are like important to people's mental health, and that's why we're allowed to stay open in this fucking pandemic."
In
guys
fairness,
know
it's the
there's, like, a
same
digital
reason
market,
sport's
right?
been going on.
Look, you guys know there's...
Same reason sport's going on.
Oh god, the sports thing is because our prime minister is like that was his entire campaign. That
I mean,
sucks.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's not get into that.
it's weird.
I
He
don't think
always,
we've got that much time.
it's weird that he always seems to bring up sports whenever there's some sort of scandal or corruption or anything like that. I don't know. That's just me.
No,
But-
I didn't go to Hawaii. I was just practicing my shark impression.
Yes.
Jesus
Man,
Christ.
we don't even have enough time to get into any of the context for that.
Oh man.
Let me move us on.
All right, thank you.
I fear what we'll get into otherwise. Sony has acquired Housemarque, the makers of Returnal. Made a few other things like Alienation. I had the list. I've closed the list. Here's what I get for doing that. Dead Nation, Outland, Resogun, Next Machina, and Matterfall.
Return
So-
speedrun. That was pretty cool.
Returnal is the main one.
I thought they were called
Big PS5
Housemarque.
exclusive.
Yeah, I thought it was Marquee.
It is marquee.
I'm pretty sure it's Housemarque because it's only the 1E, and I'm pretty sure it's just how they do it.
Okay.
only the 1A.
This is... Whenever a studio is bought by someone, I always think, so it's dead.
Not entirely.
Oh, 90% of the time.
I will also mention that the real fun part of this all was that PSN Japan decided to tweet out an acquisition, but they tweeted out the Blue Point Games acquisition, which hasn't been announced yet. So, whoops on that one. I'm sure that one will come in the coming days or weeks, but it was a very official art that they put with it, so it's obviously happening. It's just they announced the wrong one.
So, this brings me back to an article I saw. This was reported by Yahoo. But Sony's PlayStation Studios head, Herman Holst, made a comment, and Yahoo was reporting it as Sony taking a shot at Microsoft in their spending sprees. And I'm going to read the quote word for word, and I'll let you guys decide. He said, "We're very selective about the developers that we bring in," he said. "Our last new acquisition was Insomniac for $229 million in 2019, which has worked out very well. I'm always looking for people that have a similar set of values and similar creative ambitions and work very well with our team that we can further invest in and help grow as creators. It's not like we're just going around and making random acquisitions."
I would argue Microsoft isn't making random acquisitions. I feel like Bethesda was a fairly non-random.
I have a feeling that was
That's
quite
something that would have
targeted.
taken years.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys remember, but when a while back when PlayStation decided to purchase Evo, the competition,
Yeah.
I had said to you boys, I said, I don't know why they're purchasing this. If I was them, I would start purchasing developers and getting more and more exclusive IPs for PlayStation, because that's what PlayStation has banked on. You know what I mean?
They live off.
Like every PlayStation ad, they don't show you, they don't put Call of Duty front and center because you can play that anywhere else. They put Uncharted, The Last of Us, Ratchet and Clank. They put their games front and center. And Microsoft, now the fact that Starfield is essentially going to be a Microsoft exclusive. I say Microsoft exclusive and not Xbox exclusive because I believe it still will be on PC.
Yeah.
As well as the Xbox series of consoles. But
is this the whole him saying we wanted to make sure that as many players could get their hands on it as possible? That's why it's now Microsoft exclusive.
It wasn't that. Todd Howard had said something on the lines of, because we know the hardware we're working with, we can make the game like knowing what we have in store, and I believe that's what he said. Now, obviously, that's it's pretty stupid to say, because whether you're making it exclusive to one console or not, you know the hardware you're working with. If it was just you were trying to take out factors, then you wouldn't put a game on PC, because different PCs that people have will obviously have different specs and different parts in it. Whereas every PlayStation and every Xbox, apart from the Pro and obviously between Xbox and Series S and X, it's all the same. But obviously he can't turn around and be like, well, Microsoft gave us a whole bunch of money, so we're not making games for Sony anymore, without, stirring up something.
I mean, yeah, they can't say that. That would be
Yeah.
a bit cruel.
Yeah. But
No, go ahead.
But I like Sony buying House. I'm going to call it Marquee. I like Sony buying House Marquee.
No, don't call it that. It's Housemark.
Is it House Mark?
Marquee is an actual word and spelt with 2 E's.
Well, I don't fucking know. House Mark it is.
Argument. That's my
I think
argument.
Housemark.
Alright, well, I'm following you,
Sticking
Jack.
with it.
But anyway, I like the fact that they're buying developers who can prove they can make, very good games on PlayStation. I mean, yeah, I know Returnal's copped a lot of flack for having runs that go for a very long time, but mechanically, it's still a very good game.
It's still working.
It works.
Just,
But I mean, it's a studio that they, obviously believe in enough to buy. I think that, especially Sony not having the amount of money Microsoft can throw around, Sony maybe are a bit more selective, just, on who they buy. Because they don't want to buy someone and then not use them and have them shut it down a week later. We actually said before we recorded this podcast, we talked about Microsoft's reputation of buying studios, yet those studios don't really produce a lot of work.
Yeah.
They don't release games every year or things like that.
Don't pump it out.
Yeah. Whereas on Sony's end, like their devs are pumping out games as quick as possible. I think the only exception to that rule I can think of is Sucker Punch, where they released Infamous in 2014 and then didn't release anything until 2019. Whereas that was a huge gap between Infamous and Ghost of Tsushima. Whereas on the other hand, you've got like PlayStation type.
What do you mean 2019? Was it 2020?
Was it
2020?
Yeah, it was 2020.
Oh, 2020,
Yeah.
even longer.
Last year.
Whereas like we established Insomniac have been pumping out games like No Tomorrow. From 2016 to 2021, in 5 years, they've pumped out 4 games. That is a lot. That is a lot for games as big as what they're trying to do. They had the 2016 Ratchet and Clank, 2018 Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and then Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I don't know, it just slipped me. But like Naughty Dog as well. Naughty Dog went through a period where every 2 years they were releasing a game.
Was that the Uncharted years?
Even before that, Crash Bandicoot.
Even that, okay.
The Crash games had 2 years in between them, I think. And then every Jak and Daxter game had 2 years between them. And then when they were done with Jak and Daxter, they put out Uncharted. And then Uncharted...
And the first Ratchet and Clank trilogy was
they pumped
3 years back to back, right?
Yeah, the
As well.
Ratchet and Clank 1 was 2002. Going Commando was 2004, I believe. And
I thought it was only a year. Okay. But anyway,
there was a year...
That's not a lot of time.
Yeah, there was a year between Going Commando and Up Your Arsenal. Actually, I think there was even less. I think they developed it in about 10 months.
Man, it's been that long ago
That's
since I've
nuts.
seen Ratchet and Clank 3 on cereal boxes.
I know that's a lot of years, but damn, that's nuts.
Yeah, I remember.
Even for games in
I
that
remember
time.
a time when Ratchet and Clank 3 was on like fucking cereal boxes. Like there was competitions to win the game on like a Milo.
Oh man,
tin.
cereal boxes giving you shit.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I remember...
One of my Age of Empires discs came from a cereal box.
I remember once I went to a cinema, and this was in like 2004, and on the side of it they had ads for Ratchet and Clank Locked and Loaded, which is what Going Commando was called over here in Australia. What a shit name, Locked and Loaded. Every Ratchet is Ratchet Locked and Loaded, essentially. That's the premise of the game.
Isn't the whole point that they're supposed to be dick jokes?
I mean, you can.
Yeah, there's like, I think every game had a lot of like dirty jokes up until I want to say Into the Nexus. Like
Yeah. Because
Was that one the one?
Still
that
thought
was
there were a
supposed to
few in
be
Rift Apart,
Up Your
but-
Arsenal?
I feel like
Yeah.
like you can still make Locked and Loaded sexual.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure. I'm sure that was the point.
but that's not the first thing you think. If I say Locked and Loaded, you're probably thinking of a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. But then again, the recent game Rift Apart wasn't like a dirty joke or anything. It was more like toilet humor that I looked up. So Rift Apart is like ripped a fart or something.
What? I thought it was like drift apart, like a relationship.
It was supposed to be drift apart. But I was about to say dripped apart. But
Drift apart. That's when you get
Oh
too
my
much
God.
fashion and it tears you asunder.
yeah, but yeah, it was supposed to be drift apart. But I looked it up somewhere and someone said, "Oh, it could have been toilet humor," and I'm like, that doesn't sound like it's as good as it should sound. Then
No, I don't know if that was the reason for this one.
yeah, nah. Because as like Sharp said, they stopped that shit since Nexus. Like Ratchet and Clank got clean.
So there is something else we should talk about, which is it also got leaked. I couldn't remember if you said this earlier, Jack, but it also got leaked that Sony may have also acquired Bluepoint.
No, we talked about that.
Yes, I did
we
say
talked
that.
about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think
Now, I was going to ask what you guys thought about Sony and Microsoft constantly acquiring studios, and what you think. What does this mean for gaming industry? If the big dogs are just going to go and buy everything.
Look, it's not great. Look, the indie market for games is a bit different because it is possible for just one dude to make a game that just goes nuts, as we previously discussed. But,
or a group.
Yeah, or a group, or like and it's not, the bar to entry is much lower than like a business, but it's not great when you see that every studio has to be part of these gigantic corporations. Like anything that makes anything remotely like, I know it's not exactly the right term, but AAA. has to be like bought and integrated into a company as like a first party developer.
Well, I don't think that's the way it's going. I think developers, it's up to them whether they want to take whatever Sony or Microsoft offer them, or they want to stay independent. Insomniac, for a long time, Insomniac wanted to stay independent. That was part of their identity, is that they didn't want to be, tied down in terms of their options and things like that. And
I've read the same with House Mark, actually.
Yeah. So
they're proud to be one of the only big,
that's mostly
Finnish
okay
studios.
because most of their games were on PlayStation anyway. But it would be a...
Yeah, but they still had the freedom to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like when they made Sunset Overdrive, and that was an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, but...
But I think it's interesting because it's like, in some ways, Sony handles a lot of the... and Microsoft for their games. They handle a lot of the like corporate stuff, whereas I think a lot of the time, some of the makers of games, they just want to make games. That's what they're focused on. They haven't got as much business savvy, maybe. Or that's not... There's definitely people that do, but I'm just sort of saying that I wonder if there's that aspect of it of, hey, go focus on the game. We'll sort out a lot of the marketing and all of that stuff. You guys work on focusing on the game, and we'll back it. And, yeah, go from there. I wonder how much of that's going on.
I think familiarity like plays into this as well, because when you usually think of like, say, Ratchet and Clank or Insomniac, you immediately think PlayStation. But if it was to, like, say if, like, Bandai Namco got bought by, like, Microsoft, that means us, you
play with your head.
You play Tekken, I play Tales, sometimes Tekken.
Yeah, that'd be not very good.
I would be very bothered by that, because that means I have to buy an Xbox or stick to PC just to play those games.
The idea of that hurts my brain.
Yeah, that would...
See Bandai Namco show up on an Xbox would break my brain
that'd
a
be
little
bad.
bit.
Well, they do. They are on a...
Japan would be fucking irate if that happened.
Oh, yeah, no, fuck.
No, but like on like a... I don't know, on... something of like Monster Hunter.
There was talks of like Microsoft trying to acquire Sega, and I feel like that would...
There are rumors that Microsoft and Sony still have other things going on, but nothing official yet.
Yeah, like...
I still say my... Oh, sorry.
Like, that, I feel like, Microsoft acquiring something like that, like Sega. Yeah, that would be a problem, because you have a dedicated base who plays Yakuza games on PlayStation, and then suddenly they can't because it's owned by Microsoft, so it's going to be exclusive to PC and Xbox. So that's why I think it's not so much a good idea.
Well, I have a couple things I want to bring up. One thing I want to bring up is when there are games that are multi-platform, but their identity is essentially tied to one platform. Like Tekken, like in the first few installments.
Yeah.
Tekken was like always connected to PlayStation. And like it's at a point now where obviously when they made the PlayStation Classic, Tekken was on there, Tekken 3. Like I've played Tekken on an Xbox and it's perfectly fine. It functions the exact same way. But it does feel weird to play it with an Xbox controller in hand. That's the first thing that comes to mind. And I completely forgot what the second thing I was going to say was. But I do have an announcement.
All right.
Oh no.
Josh,
Yeah.
Josh and Anf,
Yeah.
I got Little Mac into Elite Smash.
Congratulations.
My boy, you did it.
I finally did it. I was literally
now you have
on
to deal
with
I
think Jack and Clinton.
Probably a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, it was a couple of hours ago. And they can hear you, like they could tell you all the stress I was having. I straight up said to him, I go, the minute he gets into Elite Smash, I'm never touching him again. He will stay there. I will not risk his position.
He's just gonna be there for a bit.
He's retired now.
Now you have to put
That's it. He's a champion. He's retired. I'm over 9 million GSP. He's staying there.
So what's your next character then?
I don't know.
Kazuya. The new boy.
Kazuya's taunt does like 28 damage.
Jesus, what?
His
What?
His taunt. So he's got a taunt.
That's a lot. I don't play a lot of Smash.
Yeah.
I know that's a lot.
And it's like Luigi's like taunt
the
where you
kick
like
thing?
yeah. But Kazuya is like 2 punches and he throws a couple of leg kicks. And he's just throwing like they're obviously karate movement. But
Okay.
if you hit with all 4 of them, it does like 28 damage. Like, granted, it would be hard to pull off against a human opponent, but I will say Kazuya feels very, very powerful in Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
he
he
has the
does.
most like attacks out of any character.
Oh, did you watch the presentation?
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that he can reflect projectiles as well with one of his kicks.
yeah, of course.
He can
does.
just
Oh, my.
he can just kick a projectile back at you.
No.
But on the topic of like Smash, so a lot of people's hearts are broken right now.
oh
Oh no.
man.
Explain this to me.
no.
I was forced to write this down. What does it mean? Explain.
So, a while back, top 10 lists came out. It was like top 10s of characters people want in Smash
I
Brothers.
think it was by country.
It was by region.
Yeah.
It was by. I can't remember who actually made the list, but it was essentially a fan voting thing. Now, in Japan, the top character people wanted in Smash was Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia. A game I'm told is quite good, but I haven't played it. Anf has played it. But he was like the most requested character. They made him a Mii costume.
Oh no.
Around the time of Steve being announced in Sephiroth, one of the long-standing rumors is that Dante from Devil May Cry was going to be coming to Smash Brothers. They made him a Mii costume too.
Yep.
They did Dragonborn just to fuck with people, I think.
Yes, the Dragonborn from Skyrim is now a
my
Mii
God.
costume. And then everyone's like, oh, well, maybe we'll get Shantae. Psych, that's another Mii costume.
Oh god.
And she
The
gets a
Shantae one
soundtrack
actually
as
kinda
well.
hurt me. Yeah.
Hey guys, jokes. Elder Scrolls 6 is exclusive to the Switch.
The only,
Oh my God.
the only character left who's like made it at like the top of the like ballot lists is like a low possibility character at this point because of like Square's over presence and like the ownership with Disney, which is a whole other story.
You're referring to Sora.
Yeah.
aren't you?
Sora's not going to be in Smash.
Yeah.
Sora is not going to be in Smash.
Disney
and
has
there is...
way too much copyright litigation shit. No one wants
So you're
to
gonna
do
say
it.
power, but
But
same
then again,
thing.
there is someone who does say like shout out to HMK because he defends like Sora being in Smash, and he says that no, Disney is willing to throw around their IP, and they have many times. Like look at like Captain Jack Sparrow in Sea of Thieves, and then look at all the merch that look like shit that they asked them to make.
Yeah, that's true.
I will say you are forgetting about another character who is near the top of the charts, particularly in Europe and North America, and that's Crash Bandicoot.
I thought you were gonna say
Now-
Master Chief, actually.
I did.
Actually,
Oh,
no,
Scrimblow, Grimblow?
Scrimbo
Crash-
Grimbo.
Crash ranked higher than Master Chief in those fan votes.
Right.
And I'm not gonna lie, as much as okay, look, controversial statement, right? But me and the boys had a lot of fun with PS All Stars back in the day, and I would love a sequel that's got as much care into it as Smash Ultimate. Now, if Crash was to be in a party fighting game, I would love to see him in PS All Stars.
That's true. I
Like-
would like to see him
Yeah,
in,
so it would be weird to see him in Smash.
yeah, it would look cool in Smash.
I
though,
mean,
'cause the DLC characters get so much love, especially compared to the characters that were just in it.
I mean, I will say that
Also, he's probably got different attacks, like
I will-
generally speaking.
I will honestly say though that like Smash Ultimate has had some characters that I would have never expected to come to Smash.
Yeah.
Never. The fact that they brought in Kazuya when you can't buy like Tekken 7 on a Switch is hilarious.
But they know. They know how big Tekken is there.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, Tekken's huge. But like even the other characters, we never thought we'd see Banjo and Kazooie in Smash.
No, we didn't.
Then we got fucking
They're in.
Minecraft.
Never thought we'd
We-
see them again.
We never thought we'd see Steve from Minecraft in Switch. He's in there.
The fact that he got in
That's
there is
that's probably
honestly
the most
fucking
bizarre
weird.
one, I reckon.
That
Like
is the
the-
most bizarre one.
Yeah, I mean, Byleth was. I can understand why Byleth
Oh yeah, totally.
was plausible.
Yeah.
Joker
Because,
was like
I
a
mean,
big
it's
One of
as
the
well.
biggest IPs on the Switch. Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, and it is known that Masahiro Sakurai is a huge Fire Emblem fan.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, some just came out of left field like I didn't expect. Like Terry.
Or Minion.
Yeah, or Min Min I can sort of get. It's a Nintendo IP, and honestly,
But Arms, like,
yeah, I know. I actually really wished Arms was more successful because I wanted to try it, but by the time I got a Switch, it was a dead game. But like Terry, I didn't see a lot of people asking for Terry. Up until it was sort of rumored that it was going to be an SNK character. Before that, I did not see anyone saying, "Oh man, I really want Terry." Like, no one was saying it. But I will say that Smash Ultimate, especially for me being the first Smash I've ever owned, absolute worth buying. Like, worth buying. It was it's fantastic.
I don't think they can ever top it.
I don't know, but I'm keen to see what comes of the series in the future. And the other big news, which, I know that anyone that watched the Kazuya for Smash presentation would know, is that the next DLC fighter will mark the end of the second Fighters Pass.
yeah.
And it will also be the last character being added to Smash Ultimate. Now,
how long have they been supporting it now? That's been like ages.
Smash
been a
came
long
out
time.
Smash was December 2018. It came out.
It's 2018. Jeez.
Oh my god.
Alright.
Yeah, it's been a really long time.
3 years of support. That's pretty impressive.
I mean,
Like, it's not... They're not massive. Like, it's not like they're building, like, this whole new world or anything. But adding... Supporting a game for
But
that
more
long.
fighters in a fighting game. Like, Jesus.
yeah. First and foremost, right? Let's be honest here.
Giving them
Smash Ultimate could have just said, "Hey, we've got everyone from the previous Smash and some new characters. Leave us alone." And then not.
And they already had the biggest roster at that stage.
They could have not released any DLC characters, and people still would have been like, "We got 70 something characters. We're fine."
Yeah.
But they did, and they put a lot of care into trying to make the characters as good a representation as they could.
None of the DLC characters are like phone-ins at all. They're all like super detailed, loving creations of their
But I think isn't that also about like just keeping the community engaged as well a little bit? Like, if you keep releasing characters, people are going to be like, "Oh, how good is this character? How do they fit into the meta?"
That's a lot of work for community engagement.
Before the all the DLC came in and all
impressive.
the updates, like Smash Ultimate was like one of the most balanced fighting games I've ever played.
And then Hero came out and everyone threw a fit.
Yeah, but not even then. Like, do you remember the AI of like the CPUs before they did the patch?
yes, I do.
That thing turned me
because
into
all
a
of us
tiger,
went,
bro.
"Oh, fuck." I just remember like people posting their short gifs of people basically getting the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah, by CPUs.
You're telling me they made the game easier?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they
And
definitely did.
did people get mad?
No.
Some
People
did.
didn't get mad? I thought people always get mad.
Some people felt like they were kind of, like, "Oh wow, I earned all these before the patch that made it easier." Like, it was a bit of a badge of honor thing.
Oh yeah, because I assume that would have affected the
Alright,
campaign
I didn't
as well.
see a huge amount of backlash to the AI tweets.
All right, who here hands up,
Yeah.
like invisible hands? So just call out your name. Who here actually got all the characters before the patch?
Yeah, I did.
I did.
God no.
I didn't.
I don't think I 100% finished it. I think.
I do want to say something though, and I think we're all in agreement with what I'm about to say, is that from memory I remember an interview with Masahiro Sakurai where he said that he had spoken to the late Satoru Iwata before his passing, and they obviously discussed Smash Ultimate and that this was going to be like as almost like in a way dedicated to Iwata.
Yeah.
Holy shit, did he deliver?
Oh my god.
Like-
yeah. Like holy shit.
Like,
He was not joking.
I could not imagine walking into the office, sitting down and being like, "Right, we have to put every character in Smash now." And then
how many
having to do
characters?
the
Sir?
DLC.
Yes.
Honestly,
Yes!
I think Masahiro Sakurai deserves like a fucking early retirement after
Yeah,
this.
100%.
If he was to wake up tomorrow and tell everyone, "Hey, this is gonna be my last game," mate, he's going out on a high note.
What a bang to go out with.
If they ever make the next Switch, well, not like the next Nintendo console, and just keep porting over, just in the future, like distant future, there's more Nintendo consoles, and we're like in our fucking like walking sticks and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Like if they kept on porting Smash Ultimate non-stop like they did Skyrim and like
I'd be
GTA
alright with
5,
it.
yeah, I wouldn't be mad. Like the game's that good.
The only real complaint...
With the last one, they're going to be... Sorry, I was just going to mention, they're up to 82 with the last character.
Yeah, it's a lot of characters.
That's a lot.
I cannot think of a fighting game that has 82 characters.
Mugen.
The only one that I can think of that had like a huge list was Mortal Kombat Armageddon, and I don't think that had 82.
Wasn't that terrible?
It was not the best Mortal Kombat game, but the whole premise of it was, hey, everyone is here and they're literally fighting to the death again, but we're for real this time. I think that was like the last game in the first timeline before the big reboot, Mortal Kombat 2011.
Yeah, I think it was Armageddon. It was either that one or
Well, I mean, there was a game in between it, but that was Mortal Kombat vs DC Universe, which we don't discuss.
We don't speak about that one. The only gripes I have with Smash Ultimate in actuality is the fact that I don't like the concept of Echo Fighters, and I wish that World of Light was more like the Subspace Emissary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading that they didn't want to do a Subspace Emissary because the whole point was the cutscenes were meant to be a reward for completing it, but people just posted it online.
I was gonna say, yeah, apparently they didn't do that again, which is such a not a good reason in my book. Yeah, but okay.
Yeah, like in comparison to like Galeem and Darkion, like compared to Taboo, it was boring, man. Like it wasn't the same.
It was.
Like,
dude, I really thought when I saw World of Light trailer, I was like, oh my god, another Subspace! I'm so down. And then I got to it, and I was like, man, I don't even want to do this.
It's just shit. But even then, like, Taboo was out for blood, and Darkion and Galeem was...
Yeah, the characters were like in factions. But Wario just fucking killed Ness at one point.
Oh yeah, that's right. And fucking, you had like that moment with Meta Knight and the Fire Emblem characters. That was pretty cool.
I liked when Kirby fucking cut a giant battleship in half by himself.
Okay, so I haven't seen the Subspace Emissary. I'm absolutely gonna watch it.
Oh yeah.
You should.
At some point, Sonic was the solution.
Sakurai Stammer.
Sonic was like the solution at some point.
Oh my god. I remember, like, so as I said earlier, and as you guys already know, Smash Brothers Ultimate is my first Smash Brothers. And nothing feels more like a badge of honor than when we were at Josh's house and he uttered the words, "Man, remember when Charbs was shit at Smash? Those were easy days."
No, because you started playing it and we could reliably kick the shit out of you. And now it's like, oh god.
Yeah, we had we had our moment of pride when we were kicking the fucking shit out of you. Now you know all the super ramas and all that. We're like,
yeah,
we're not,
it's like that. It's like the JoJo meme with the two guys kicking the shit out of Charbs, and then like Jack would come in and then kick the shit out of you, and now you can take on all three of us with one hand.
Yeah. Now we're just scared.
Now,
and
like,
basically,
right,
if we
leave
started
Charbel alone, and then we see that you have like 3 stock, and we're like, all right, now everyone has to kill him.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Now we have to team up.
You got good, then you got too good, and then you just got out of my league.
I remember.
I'm surprised anyone plays with you anymore.
Yeah,
out of our group.
I remember the last time I played with Anf, right? Like my first fight. I can't remember who he picked, but I picked Ganondorf. And I straight up just fucking... He didn't get a hit on me before I took one of his stocks. and then like, the next thing I see, it's like, your opponent has lost connection. Amp's like, nah, fuck.
Nah, man.
Amp gets, like, PTSD whenever he hears Ganondorf go, "Duria," as he fucking swings his
Yeah,
sword.
Kazuya does it too.
How does Clinton go against you?
If I
from Clinton playing Jigglypuff, I was like, why are you playing Jigglypuff?
If I went up against Clinton like 15 times, I think I could reliably win at least 12 times.
Oh,
those are some fighting words.
this is gonna be fun for him to edit when he hears this.
Clinton's gonna fucking do me dirty when he's editing this.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
he
yeah.
totally will.
I'm ready for some real.
That's part of why I brought it up. I thought it'd be fun.
Me and Clinton have played
Amazing.
like well over 1,000 matches against each other. So like we know each other. We know how the other one plays.
I know all your moves, therefore I have the upper hand.
Shout out to anyone who understands that reference. But yeah, no, like I got really into Smash. I think like the way to determine if I'm really into a game is I start following YouTubers who make videos strictly about that game. And there are some I follow like Mock Rock, Introspective, King of Skill who make like mainly Smash Brothers videos. Oh man, I got way into Smash. I still love it. Alright, should we call it there?
On that note, I think that's where we got to call it. I think we actually went through everything.
Yep.
He's hoping that we don't like stop recording and then Jack messages us, oh shit, one more.
No,
We
we're all
forgot to
good.
talk about this.
Alright, Jack, you want to take us
But
out?
wait, there's more.
Yes. No, there's not. I'm ending it.
Alright.
So this has been episode 29 of the Sapphire podcast. With me today has been Sharbs,
Yep.
Anf,
Yo.
and Josh,
Not everyone.
and me as Jack. Thanks everyone.
As opposed to
Jack.
you as someone else.
I was gonna say as Jack like he's playing a character.
As me.
Jack playing himself.
Take care, guys.
Alright, signing off.
Signing off.
Signing off.